Shalom, Akim Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful like this out there, listening, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom. So I want to go into a few different things today, Akim, just kind of cover what's going on. We know the whole war in Iran is going on. We know that there's different players getting involved, and we know that there's this is also going to cause a lot of economic trouble. Okay, and one of the main reasons for that is just with the way the war is being fought right now. So I'm going to go to the AI overview real quick on Google, and you just type in how expensive is Iran's missiles versus America, right? The AI overview says Iran's missile and drone arsenal is significantly cheaper to produce than American air defense systems, creating a massive cost imbalance designed to deplete United States resources. So I'm going to stop right there. And you can see a bunch of videos of this online, but basically Iran is using cheap equipment, but the way they designed the equipment, they did it very strategically. Like you could look at Israel with their Iron Dome. They use these expensive ass missiles that could track down drones or missiles and blow them up. But okay, Iran figured out a way to, basically bypass that system. Basically they end up overwhelming the system by sending a bunch of I believe it's drones. So they use drones and missiles, but they send them together in groups. And basically, the way they do it, they use a lot of trickery too. Like they were using wooden drones and shit like that. And basically making it so that this $1 billion system is getting defeated by cheap, $1,000 missiles and drones and shit like that. Okay, I'm gonna read the rest of this AI overview. Y'all could go into more details if you want to get the nitty gritty, but just kind of on the surface, y'all could go into how, Iran has bypassed the Iron Dome in Israel. Okay, and of course, Israel and America being together, Iran is winning this war the way it looks, man. Okay, because Trump's eventually gonna have to send boots to the ground, man. All right, because America's burning through all this fucking money, and Iran is just blasting all these military bases, blasting Israel. Okay, they've been preparing this forever, man, and the scriptures goes into that. Where it talks about where his enemies are puffing at him. Let's get that. Or let the weak say I am strong. Let's get that. Because America's been in its dominance for a long time, but as we know, we're coming up on the 250th year of America's rulership, superiority, basically. So this is the end of the empire, man. Just like every empire has an average of 250 years. This is what happens, man. An empire rises to power, and then it falls to the powers around them. Okay, and eventually there's going to be a new leader, a new nation in charge, which we know, according to the scriptures, are the real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Okay, not to be confused with those small hats over there, which are just imposter Edomites. They're Edomites who are imposters trying to act like us. But yep, we're going to go into Joel chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right? So the Lord is raising up these different Gentile nations. As you see, the Persians over there, these so-called Iranians, are being roused up. The Lord put it in their spirit to create these different weapons. Like I said in some of my previous videos, man, these guys are the masters at guerrilla warfare. Okay? They use all types of tricks and traps, and they could use cheap ass equipment and beat your ass. You got state of the art shit, man, because these are wild. It's like the scripture says, Ishmael's a wild man. Okay? And it says they will remember their nature. All right? But it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Right? The mighty men is the men of war. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, right? Stop working on, building up your industry or your country, for lack of a better word, and start focusing on war. Right? Forget about architecture, forget about, your cities and blah 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 and your factories. Nah, start working on weaponry. Start working on war. Okay, so it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Because for the longest time, America was not to be fucked with. And these other nations were all weak, bowing down, ready to submit. Okay, but now America has weakened to the point where you have Iran who was fully willing to challenge America, man. You've got Russia, China, even North Korea puffing at America, man. Puffing at America. All right. Yes, that's all I wanted to get on that aspect. So going back to the AI overview here, I'm going to read this second part. It says, Iranian Shahed drones cost only $20,000 to $50,000 each, while United States Patriot interceptors cost roughly $4 million each. This means Iran can overwhelm defense systems at a fraction of the cost, right? Because for $4 million, it takes a $4 million missile to stop a $20,000 drone. You see, that shit doesn't work, man. And America has money and power and all that, but they're fighting a losing battle. They're fighting an uphill battle, man. And then the ways they send these drones in swarms is like you can only hit one at a time, man. You're gonna hit one, but then 20 of them are gonna hit the target. Or 19 of them are gonna hit the target. And these drones, I saw them, they were made of wood. I think some were made of fiberglass. And basically, the way it's designed, there's no heat signature because they use an electric motor, right, instead of propellant. So it's like, it's hard to see it. Then when you finally see it, they're in a big group. They're moving awkwardly. It's like, damn, you can't really do shit. Blow up a $4 million missile to stop a $20,000 drone. They could just send a bunch more, man. I mean, if we do the math, 4 million divided by $20,000, let's just say 200, right? So, for every one they blow up, they got another 199 more, and you down $4 million. It's unsustainable. They can't win this war this way, man. See, Iran has been preparing for a long time, and all these heathen nations, these Gentile nations, they have all type of tricks up their sleeves, man. China has all type of tricks in their sleeve. Russia got all type of tricks up their sleeve. Right? America's finished, man. This place is done. Okay, and so like I said in one of my previous videos, get ready for the meat grinder, because Trump is going to have to put boots on the ground. They can't win this war in the air. Okay, and then that's going to be even worse for them, because they're going to send a bunch of American troops, over there. They don't know the terrain. And like I said, these people are master guerrilla warfare. They're a master at using all these, they're masters at war, man. These people are going to be sent over there just to die. Okay? getting completely slaughtered. And I believe there's been reports that hundreds, if not thousands, of troops. Let me see something. They're saying like what, 400 troops or some shit died in Iran. Let's see real quick. Salakia, I haven't. Let's look it up real quick. They say only 4 were killed in Iran in a strike. Here we go. Found the article I was looking for. It says Iran's top security official claims 500 U.S. military deaths, calls it unjust war on Iran. Yeah, so they're not losing many people in Iran. America's getting all these casualties. They're losing billions upon billions of dollars. Okay, and Iran is fine. They're not really getting hit like America and Israel. Well, not America, but Israel. And technically, yeah, the American bases are getting hit. They're getting destroyed. They're getting bombarded. Okay, so Iran's at a huge advantage here. So I brought out this price difference just to show you, with all the money that they're spending. I have another article pulled up. The headline says $3.7 billion estimated cost of Epic Fury's first 100 hours. So in 100 hours, $3.7 billion have been spent. You see? So what do you people think is going to happen, man? This is basically going to cause a lot of inflation, okay? Because we know war causes inflation, causes the economy to go down even more so. It's already going down. Now you got the price of oil that's going up. They already talking about the gas pumps are already starting to feel it, man. Okay, certain prices, certain states, the price at the pumps has already gone up. Okay, because you got that area over there in the Middle East. It's called the Strait of Hormuz, and basically, that's where that oil gets sent out, and basically America is fucked, man, because they could produce some oil, but it's not good for everything. Okay, they export oil, but they gotta import oil as well, and so oil goes up, everything goes up, because everything is transported in trucks. Okay, and then think about all those plastic products and shit, which those are made in China anyway. But then China being an ally to Iran, okay, you can imagine as this war continues, these other countries may end up putting sanctions on the U.S. even more. Whatever. We know there was a trade war with Trump and these other heathen nations out here. Okay, so things are getting ready to get very expensive. Okay, got a headline here pulled up. It says America is the oil king of the world, so why is the Iran war sending gas prices higher? Okay, it says, I'm just skipping down to the point. No matter how much crude the United States produces domestically, oil is traded in a global market, one that President Donald Trump just upended. Without all the United States' substantial crude production, Americans could already be paying $4 or even $5 a gallon for gasoline. But the United States exports nearly a third of the oil it produces, and it imports nearly a third of the oil it consumes, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Okay, so you got that war that's going to be very expensive. You got the fact that there's going to be less oil, so now the prices are going to go up. Right, there's going to be less access to oil. Okay, and tensions are going to keep rising. Inflation's already been going up before all this happened. So, how many straws before the camel's back is broken? Okay, this is going to lead to hyperinflation, and just in time for the chip to be mandated, man, because we know, as the scriptures say, World War III is not going to go nuclear until that chip is mandatory for buying and selling. So we understand prophecy. We understand that the Lord is at work in all these things. So if the war is heating up, it can only heat up so much before it goes nuclear, man. So something's about to happen with this economy. If you understand prophecy, something's about to happen with this economy. It's going to get very tight out here. It's going to get very difficult out here. It's going to be very bad out here, man. Okay. I want to go ahead and I want to grab Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 19. It says, "They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed from them. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh." You see, because when all hell fully breaks loose here in Babylon, likely due to the economic collapse and of course this war, we mentioned sleeper cells. Okay, we already got ICE out there. Jacob's trouble's already here, but it's going to escalate. It's going to get more intense. Okay, with more economic troubles and more people, crashing out. Okay, a lot of things are going to be seen, man, and that's the wrath of Yahweh, man. When it gets really bad out here, okay, it says that your money, your gold and your silver is not going to be able to save you, man, because you see, you Babylonians, you rely on your money for everything, man. All right, you're always chasing your bag, especially you 2/3 Jake out there. You're always chasing the bag. Everything's all about money. You'll sell out your own mama to get money, man. Look at these celebrities. They'll sacrifice their loved ones just to get some power in this world. Well, guess what? Even they, with all their riches and all their mansions and all their bags and all their connections with Esau, so on and so forth, hey, it's not going to save them, man. Because this calamities that are coming to the earth, this is the Lord's judgment, man. Okay, all these heathen nations that are going to get sent to that meat grinder, right? These young Edomite men, okay, and certain women, right? You YNs, a lot of you are going to get drafted, okay? The sleeper cells that are coming to attack here, the starvation that's going to ensue as this economy gets squeezed into oblivion, man. Okay, there has to come that collapse. Something's going to happen that's very, very terrible for these devils to have the excuse to mandate the MOTB and for it to make sense in people's mind, right? Or it has to at least make enough sense to where most people will take that chip, okay? And they're going to do it, man, because that's the Lord's will. That's the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, so there's a coming economic collapse, and it's getting ready to happen, man. We did a lesson, myself, the brother Yatazak, and the brother Yukal, we were talking about how the times we're living in now mirrors the Great Depression, man. Right, and it's showing all the same signs of a great collapse, and it's gonna be far worse than the economic collapse of that, that Great Depression, man. It's gonna be far worse. All right, so getting back into it, it says, "They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity," man. Yeah. That love of money, trusting in it for everything. Like the scriptures talk about, woe unto those who go to Babylon for help, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, all these carnal things that you people rely on, right? Especially that money, that fiat currency, okay? It might as well be toilet paper on that day, man. Okay, because ultimately the only thing that matters is this truth. Wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the Holy Bible. Okay, that's what's going to get you through these tough times, man, because as we continue further into World War III and eventually more draconian measures, martial law being called, whether it be official or unofficial, the point being draconian measures will be made. Okay, they have all these concentration camps out there. Something big is getting ready to happen, man. You know, these devils are gonna make their move. They want their NWO. Okay, and so it's gonna be a very terrible time. And those people who have those Israelites, I want to be specific, man. You got people that are new on my page. We're only speaking to the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. You are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. You're the only nation that can repent. Right? These other heathen nations are all going to get their judgment, man. All right? And what we're doing, warning you, to repent, that's love, man. Because you had a scoffer on my comment that I saw yesterday talking about how, you shouldn't use language that breaks people down, and it doesn't it's not in love or some shit like that, man. Okay, we're not commanded to love everybody, first of all. Okay, we're only supposed to love the Israelites of the elect on this side, really. Okay, and then the rest of our people will love them when they come back in their right mind. All right, like the scriptures say, when Yahushua, they were talking about blessed is your mother who bared you. He said, blessed are those who do the will of my Father. Roughly paraphrasing, man. It says, that's my neighbor. My neighbor and my brother and my mother is basically talking about those who are in this truth, man. Hey, we're not even friends with all you Jakes out there, man. Yeah, we want you to repent, but 2/3 of you are destined to be destroyed out here with Esau. Okay, you people don't understand, man. The God of the Bible, Yahweh, and his son Yahushai, okay, they're not these soft, fruity Edomites that you people thought they were, man. Okay, they're not, these idols that you see out here, the so-called Jesus Christ, and this so-called Christianity with this prosperity doctrine and positivity, general positivity message. Nah, man, it's simple-minded, watered-down bullshit, man. Okay, this is love, man. Me cussing you out and telling you need to get right with the Lord before all hell breaks loose, before you end up at the meat grinder. Okay, I'm doing that in love. You can cuss somebody out in love, in case you didn't know. All right, if you're about to get hit by a bus and I push your ass out of the way, I say, get the fuck out of the way before you die. That's love, man. See, but you people are simple out there, man. And this is why you need what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Now, if you don't have the full understanding of this Bible, when all hell breaks loose, you're not going to figure it out. You're going to lose your mind, you're going to bug out, and you're going to get that chip. All right, but those of us that are in the know, we have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're not going to break. We're not going to fold, man, because the Lord is dealing with us. When all these calamities happen, we're not going to be surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all that Iran and America are at war right now, man. I even called it a few weeks ago, and there was a scoffer in the comments. I had to message him back and say, hey, you got a lot of explaining to do, man. He was talking about how, Iran, it's always Iran is about to get nukes, and, it's always the end of the world, the boy who cried wolf. Yeah, and then a week later, it actually happened. So his dumb ass could shut up. See, now you people know that a prophet has been among you, man. The apostles and elders here at Great Millstone, the bishops and elders and the men on down. All right, we've been talking about this stuff forever. Okay, but now is the time to get your oil in your lamps, to build up your faith, to build up your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's the true currency, man. That's the true currency. Okay, that is the best stock to invest in. Not cryptos and, let's invest in gas and this and that. Not saying you can't do that, but I'm saying, what should you rely on is not your bank account, man. Your bank accounts are going to get wiped out when that chip is mandated anyway. You could have $1 million in the fucking bank. If you don't take that chip, they're going to wipe your money out. You're going to starve out here. All right? You see? So how do you resist the chip? Is you got to have this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. And ultimately, you got to be the elect. And what will the elect be doing in these times? Building up their faith, man. All right. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 8 and 11. It says, "For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it." Right? $1 million in the bank. You know, a bunch of fine ass hoes and clothes and, a penthouse in New York or California or, in Cancun or wherever the fuck. All these things our people dream about in this world. It don't matter, man. Because when all hell breaks loose and this third world war goes nuclear, all right, your penthouses and your bank accounts, your money is going to go up in flames. Esau, all these idols out here, all these wicked works that are being done, this whole power structure is going down very quickly, man. Very quickly. And if you're in this world, you're going to be destroyed with this world. Or if you're of this world, rather. Scriptures tell us to be in this world, but not of it. We live in this Bible. Okay? Because ultimately, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Bible is going to be established as the law of this land, of the whole earth, through the Israelites, once the Lord puts us in power. Okay, that's what we're hoping in. We're not hoping for America and Iran to sign a peace treaty so we could keep going back to work, eating bullshit foods. Now this Gil Bates of hell is putting jump shot juice in the meats and vegetables without permission. That damn devil, man. All these damn devils are wicked, man. Okay, what do you expect in Babylon, man? This is not something we want to continue, man. We continue paying, $10,000 of rent a week is what it feels like that one Jake said. Right? And it's going to keep going up and keep going up, keep going up. Eventually, you're going to have to rent out a closet and sleep on the floor curled up. They might just have a bunch of closets at the plantation. You go from the plantation to your closet, back to the plantation. And if you get fired, well, guess what? You got to move out of that closet, find another plantation job, and move into that closet and give them half your paycheck. How's that? That's what's going to happen if the Lord allowed this world to continue. That's what we got to look forward to. Fuck this place. Let it be destroyed, man. Let it be destroyed, man. Okay, this is Isaiah 33:6. "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." Right? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of this Bible, this truth. "And strength of salvation, the fear of Yahweh is his treasure." Right, it's going to be the strength of our salvation because, you're not going to be saved if you got your head up your ass, thinking that you're just going to call on Jesus. You're not going to call on that idol, man. Or you will, but you're not going to get saved. You got to have the true wisdom, knowledge. You got the most fundamental thing in this truth is the name of the Lord. Okay, because if you call on Jesus, you're calling on an idol, man. The Lord hates idols. Right? The Lord's going to destroy you if you call on that name, that fake name, man. All right? So ultimately, there's going to be a lot of economic turmoil here coming soon, because now they just said the war is going to continue much longer than they thought. As you can see, the longer this war draws out, the more money America has to spend. Now it was reported that Nero Trump is asking for help in the war. Because they're losing badly. And it's just Iran, man. You still got China and Russia, which are more powerful. You think America will be able to fight all of them? It's not going to happen, man. They're going to have to go all out. And then ultimately, we know what happens. But none of this is going to happen before the chip. So we know something's going to happen with the chip very soon. Okay? If there's some type of economic collapse or whatever it may be to trigger, it could be, war. It could be that illness that brought the world together last time. You remember C-19 brought the whole world together last time. They could be something, very terrible that's getting ready to get dropped. It could be that Nipah illness. That will completely obliterate the economy, man. along with this war, just forget about it, man. But there will be an economic collapse, man, and that's coming very soon. But yeah, man, ultimately, we looking forward to the day of doom. You know, we looking forward to Yahweh Bashem Shai taking this place down, because there's nothing but corruption and evil and wickedness in this place, man. You know, I want to finish with this precept. This is 2nd Ezra 7:43. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come. And that's when we get them new bodies, you know. It says wherein corruption is past. That's right. You're not going to have to worry about Esau putting poison in your food. You're not going to have to worry about rent going up higher than what you get paid at work. Then you have to go move to another neighborhood with a bunch of potholes and crackheads trying to break into your shit. You know, oh, your woman cheating on you. You get mad and you smack her in the face or whatever. Now you in jail getting raped by a man. You know, all type of shit. Then when you get out, now you can't get a job. How you gonna pay rent? You go sell drugs, you know, which that's what happens to a lot of our people, man. They in a system that's set up for them to end up on the street and then back to jail, back to the street. You got the systemic racism, you know, wars, always wars with this devil, man. That's that red horse. They came to take peace from the earth. The Esau Edom, the so-called white man. We ain't got to worry about him anymore. Once this day of doom comes, that's the end of the so-called white man's kingdom and the beginning of Jacob's rulership, which is an eternal rulership under Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, going to the next verse, 2nd Ezra 7:44. Intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown up, and righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Right, this truth, the Bible, that's gonna be the law of the land, man. Not all these weirdo laws that don't make any sense. You know, them framing mischief into law, bad incentives, right? That's why the world is so chaotic, especially here in America. You got all these homeless people, and you got a little bit of rich people that just eat kids and drink adrenochrome all day. And you out there eating Snicker bars and fucking not knowing what the hell's going on. Shit is so unbalanced. It doesn't make any fucking sense, man. It's so wicked and polluted. All right. Verse 45, then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed. That's right, man. There's no saving these goddamn Edomites, man. We're not supposed to love no Edomites, Jake. Get it the fuck together. Talking about you got to talk to people in love. This is love for our people. Telling them what's going to happen and what they need to do. That's instructions. That's love, man. Not me gassing you up and acting like, oh yeah, you're awesome, you know. Sometimes love is being honest. You know, and honesty sometimes is gonna be rude. You know, Paul was rude in speech. So Paul used cuss words. You know, Paul expressed himself. Yahweh Shai was cussing people out, man. He whooped ass, bro. You telling me a man that's gonna go in to somewhere where people are selling stuff, he's gonna flip their tables, throw their money on the floor, and whip them? Alright? You telling me he didn't say one cuss word? You telling me he went in there whipping people, talking about, get your butt out of my father's house? Yeah, get real, dude. But it says, then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory. Because the only people that are going to get the victory are the Israelites. And not even all of Israel is going to get the victory over the beast. Only here in America is going to be 1/3. And there's a small remnant around the world, right? The upper echelon of that is the 144,000. But the rest of you jakes, you're going to die a terrible death here at the end of this thing. And then you're going to be born again as a child through our loins and you're going to be in your right mind in the kingdom. Okay? So this is what's getting ready to happen, man. America is at the end of its life as an empire, and you know, is struggling with this war, is struggling financially. The whole world is against America. The petrodollar is collapsing. Okay, it's only a matter of time before these devils implement this NWO and mandate the chip. You know, they've been kicking the can around the road, but hey, war is in the air, man. War is very heavy over there in Iran. So, yep, I can just keep paying attention, watch and pray, and keeping the faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. So I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful like this out there, listening, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom wa, abab abal.